wonderful, and thanks to Barbara and Richard for the music. They'll be back a little bit later on. For those of you who just got here, Mark Wilkerson won't be able to join us. He has just had a very stressful day meeting with his attorneys and having family come in to support him. And we are here to support him, and we can certainly still do that. We have several fantastic speakers who have known Mark for a long time. I just wanted to say, Maxine Hong Kingston said, "Speak truth and so make peace." And that's what I think we would all agree that Mark's been doing with his life for the last couple of years. There are a lot of people here tonight who are also doing that. One of them who's been doing it on the road for months and months at a time is here with us, and I think many of you know her, and I'll let her talk about what she's been doing in her history. Please welcome Ann Wright.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. I know we're all disappointed that dear old Mark won't be here with us, but can you imagine what Mark is going through right now? He's already said that he, in his pre-trial agreement with the military, he has acknowledged that he was AWOL. So he will be convicted tomorrow in a court-martial, and he will probably go directly from the court-martial room straight to jail. So tonight is really his time to be with his family, although he was really planning on being here, but there just things have overcome him with discussions more with the lawyers and all of that. So our hearts are with him. I, as a 29-year veteran of the U.S. Army and having retired as a colonel quite a few years ago, and then having been in the U.S. Diplomatic Corps and for 16 years, and then resigning in opposition to the war in Iraq back in March of 2003, I found that my life has changed a lot, just like Mark's has. Mark took a different course in his descent of the war in Iraq. He first went to Iraq, came back, and then went AWOL. And went AWOL for many months. And I think his good friend Kelly Doherty will go into much greater detail about Mark's decision.
I hate to interrupt, but I'm being asked if you could step up on the step and they can see you a little bit better.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Okay, there we go. Thank you. Thanks. I first met Mark in August of this last year at Camp Casey. How many of you all were at Camp Casey this August? Yay! Thank you all for being there, and a reminder that Camp Casey will go again at Easter time this year. So please join us at Crawford, Texas, to put pressure on the President of the United States to stop this war in Iraq. Pressure right at his back door, so to speak. Mark came to us in August to say that he was going to turn himself in after having been AWOL for almost a year, and he wanted to be at Camp Casey and have a press conference there to explain to the world why he had gone AWOL to start with and why he was turning himself back in. So from August to February, almost 6 months, Mark has been back in a military environment. He chose to dissent in a much different way than I did, although we were there for the same purposes. I mean, he had to go AWOL in order to show the military that he was in total disagreement with that war. I myself, as a civilian, could resign, which I did, but suffered no consequences from it. I mean, I lost a job, but plenty of other jobs, and as one now knows, there's plenty of jobs in stopping wars. So that's what I've been doing over the last 3.5 years almost. Mark is following in a great and proud tradition in the United States, where we do have men and women in the military who are standing up to what they believe are unlawful orders that are sending them into illegal, immoral wars of aggression. if I could just take a few moments to talk about some of the other people who you may or may not know about. Mark is I think, number 16 who will be court-martialed for this war in Iraq, for refusing to either go to Iraq or redeploy to Iraq. And we do have two other people that are in the news right now, along with Mark. Just last week, or week before last, Aaron Watada, Lieutenant Aaron Watada, the first commissioned officer who has refused to go to Iraq for the first time, was court-martialed. And Kelly was there, and were any of the rest of you all at the court-martial at Fort Lewis? Well, it was really a fascinating look into military justice. On the third day of the trial, the judge declared a mistrial. And it was a mistrial primarily, in my opinion, because the prosecution had not proved its case that Mark indeed had the criminal intent not to deploy to Iraq, that indeed he had some extenuating circumstances that he wanted to argue in front of the court. And the court from the very beginning had said, you can't argue the essential element of the crime, which was the legality of the war. So the judge ended up seeing that the prosecution and its three witnesses had really done nothing more than bolster Aaron's case. Indeed, the three officers showed that Mark had followed every single thing he should have done in order to, Aaron. That Aaron had done everything that he needed to do, to include going to his commanding officer and discussing why the war in Iraq was, in Aaron's opinion, an illegal war. By going to his peers and talking about it, to go to the IG, to the lawyers, to offer to resign, to offer to go to Afghanistan, offering everything except going to what he believed in an illegal war. So here we have a judge that then saw the three witnesses saying, essentially, yes, he did do everything we asked him to do, and he followed the rules that the military has. So on Wednesday morning, the judge, after cajoling the prosecution saying, we don't have any problem with what he's done, and we do think it is appropriate that he argue his intent. What was his intent in not getting on that plane? And the judge just flat said, nope, can't do it. I declare a mistrial. So we have Aaron, who's still, we don't know whether he is going to be charged again or charged on different charges being brought up, because there is the issue of double jeopardy, whether or not the three charges he was tried on and then the mistrial declared, whether the court case had gone so far along in it that it would be a mistrial if they try to bring those three charges back up. The other case that's going on right now is the case of Augustine Aguayo, who is a medic for the U.S. Army, who had gone to Iraq 2 years ago, and as a medic, before he went over, he tried to get conscientious objector status, and it was denied by the Army. He went to Iraq and said, I will not carry a weapon. No matter what you do to me, I won't carry a weapon. So for his entire time over there, he didn't carry a weapon. He put in another claim for conscientious objector status, which was again denied by the Army after he got back to Germany. And then when his unit was getting ready to deploy again in August of this year, he jumped out the back window of his home in Germany and fled from the military because he just refuses to go to war again. He will be court-martialed on the 6th of March in Germany. In fact, I just came from Los Angeles, where we had a fundraiser for him last night. We'll have another one for him in San Diego on Friday night. All of these things that these brave men and women are doing, because we've had one woman who has been, actually now two women who have been now court-martialed for refusing to go to Iraq. It's a very difficult challenge for them in terms of how you financially do this. For Mark, he has a civilian lawyer as well as a military lawyer. For Augustine, not only has he had his military court-martial, but he has 2 court cases in civilian courts where he has been trying to get the civilian courts to rule on